Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Marketing Matters podcast. I'm your host, Steven Atema.
Matema Victoria.
Yeah, Vicky. I want us to talk about a very interesting topic that affects most of us in the marketing space: getting marketing strategy wrong. And this is very important, or this is a very important topic because if your strategy is wrong, you will definitely be you will not achieve your goals. So offline, I was telling you about, sometimes we get issues for me in the employment space, with your supervisors or your superiors coming with you with a wish list of 10 items they want you to execute in one marketing campaign. and
Yeah.
and for me, as a marketer, you struggle so much because these are the goals, the business goals. But then when you're trying to execute it physically, or when trying to execute it now on the campaign, you find that it will be very challenging to achieve all these goals. And I was saying, the problem why I call them wish lists is because these are goals that, realistically speaking, cannot be achieved. Why do I say that? Because on the SMART goal concept, the idea is that the goal has to be specific, which means you cannot have 10 goals in one campaign. Then the goal has to be measurable. You have to know, how much followers do you want to acquire, how many customers do you want to click on to get to go to cart. It has to be achievable. You cannot give me a budget of 5,000 shillings and expect me to bring you revenues of 1 million. So it has to also be achievable, for people who are, I'm talking about now, guys who are trying to make different types of goals. Then of course it has to be relevant to the campaign. There can be business goals, but then there has to be marketing goals, because sometimes people think that the business, of course, the marketing campaign has to align with the business goals, but you have to make marketing campaign goals that are also alive to the campaign that you're trying to achieve. And of course, then you have to determine, how long do you want to achieve these goals. Is it 3 months? Is it in a month? Is it a year, if you have a longer budget? But yeah, so one of my biggest icks that I have with people when they are trying to run a campaign is, there is lack of clarity on what you want to achieve. And we had talked about goal setting in a previous engagement, where we said, in marketing strategy or in digital marketing campaigns, you have to have a primary goal that has to be one, and then the secondary goals can be two or three. But you cannot have, I want to grow my audience, and then I also want to increase revenue. You have to have a specific goal. Are you growing your audience, or are you increasing your click-through rate, or are you growing your revenues? Like, it has to be specific. Then have the secondary goals. Oh, I want this engagement rate, or I want this number of followers, such thing. But your primary goal is the most important one, because that is what defines success or failure. What are some of the challenges, Vicky, you see marketers having when they are doing their campaign?
Yeah, I think first of all you're very right. The goal is one of the main common mistakes that we face. Even businesses who just do the marketing on their own, like we have small businesses that just they're the ones to do the marketing, and they're the ones to still serve their customers. Most of the time, well, they don't have the goal. It's just we want to find ways of seeing what other people are doing. Let's do it and make sales. So uh, before I even just mention the one of the mistakes that I also find common is, again, as we talk about the marketing strategy, not everyone has a marketing strategy, even as they are running their businesses, especially the
Yeah.
small business, which would like to emphasize that it's very important. Anytime you want to grow your business, if you want to see your business grow from one level to another, it's always good to ensure that you put focus on the strategy, because without the strategy, you are born to just do anything that comes your way, which might end up making you lose a lot of money and not getting the results or the job done. So ensure that at least you sit down, come up with a strategy. It can be a short term or a long term strategy, but at least come up with a strategy which should include just what Steve has mentioned: the goals. You identify the audience. You need to do a lot of research about your business and the competitor analysis. You need to do a lot of understand what is your messaging, what the channels you're going to use. This will really help you come up with a plan that will work and that will help you save cost. And even if you're spending money on the marketing, you're able to see the results or how they are doing. If it's not doing well, you seek ways to improve. So ensure that at least you put this in place if you don't have. Now, the second mistake, after just mentioning the goals, the second mistake is the inconsistent branding. Like you don't have uh, coming up with um, you you need to be
Creative.
able to sit down and uh, as you come up with a plan, also think which are the areas that are, which are the platforms that I would want to do my marketing. Am I going to do social media? Am I going to have a website? Am I going to do blogs? Am I going to uh, and what am I going to do in these platforms? Which are the content I'm going to create? And what is my voice while I'm going to create um, this I'm going to create content on this platform. I'm going to market. What is my voice? This will help you know that whatever you're saying on Facebook should be the same thing that you're saying on TikTok, even if you twist the way you do it. Maybe you'll do a video here, you'll do a blog on the website, but at least the the message is consistent, like you're consistent across your platforms. This is uh, this is one of the things that would make when your clients see you, anytime they find you, wherever they find you, they'll be able to know that you're talking about the same message. So consistency is very key. And even in terms of how you create your content, how frequent am I going to be creating my content? Am I going to be doing once a week, once a day, 3 times a day? Am I going to be doing videos? Am I going to be doing posters? Like, you need to find some consistency in how you do everything that you do on the digital space. This will really help you to come up with uh, it will really help you get your results or your job gets done. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Especially on that consistency in messaging. I think it also ties into you having a clean or a clear content strategy. And I say this because most of the time people you can have some campaigns, people have one ad that is repeated all through the campaign, and I find it um very annoying, especially for if I'm an audience. When I see an ad 3 months, even no matter how good that ad is, you need to refresh your ads. And that can be done when you have a consistent strategy, which allows you then to say, this week or this month we are targeting this message. Then you can have an ad for that message. This week we are targeting this message, and in that message that you've talked about, Vicky, then there has to be a clear call to action. What do you want customers to do? Do you want them to follow your page? Do you want them to buy? Do you want them to click a website? Do you want to visit your shop? Such things. But then another major thing that I think also even in that story, in that discussion about content and messaging, there is also a lot of brands or a lot of companies are inauthentic. Like you see an ad and you can almost see where they took this ad from, because there is no creativity, or there is no authenticity that aligns with your brand. Like, say, I've seen several companies, banks that are doing now, we call it customer mobilization campaign. And if you look at some of those campaigns from those banks, it's like a bank saw another bank. I know one bank, I won't mention that them right now, but there's a bank that did a very successful, a nice campaign in the first quarter of the year for deposit mobilization. And 2 months later, I see another bank doing a same mobilization campaign, and the way the campaign is executed, it gives you the feeling that these guys did not have this in their plan for the year. They saw that these guys were doing this campaign, and they're like, the boss was like, why are we not doing also a revenue mobilization campaign? So sticking to your strategy sometimes is good, because when you do something like that, of course, maybe some customers are not seeing it, but some people will notice that you guys are copying what another company is doing. Always try to be, in as much as competition is tough and things are tough in the market space, try to be authentic in your campaign. Do what you had planned to do. If you had planned to push maybe a product, maybe you're a bank and you're trying to push a mobile app, you push the mobile app. Don't be reactive to what your competitor is doing, unless it is something that you can also execute well. But most of the time, when you change, you deviate from your digital marketing or your marketing strategy, it comes off usually as inauthentic. And that then brings me to the issue about um, companies or brands not being also adaptable, because you have a campaign that runs 6 months or 3 months. For most brands, campaigns will run for 3 months. And in that campaign, maybe in the first month, you say you are doing a campaign to just create general awareness. And then you find that some of the creatives you're using are not working, or they're not giving you results. Adaptability requires that you say, okay, in the next month, maybe the campaign is now just to push a product. Then maybe we need to do something else on the creatives. We need to do something else on the what's the word, on the messaging, and even on the channels. Because the beauty of a campaign is to allow you to learn, uh, in the process, to learn which works for you. So if you find Facebook is working for you, then adaptability requires that you then deploy more resources to Facebook and reduce maybe on another platform. But you cannot say, because we purposed a third of our marketing will go to X, you stick to it even if it's not performing. So you also have to be adaptable when you are running. And I find most brands, maybe because of internal approval processes, they just stick to plans when as they were originally designed, and then end up just wasting resources, and then now feeling that, with what I call vanity metrics, we say, but in X we didn't get conversions, yet conversions was your primary goal, but we got 1 million engagements, but that engagements is not what your primary goal was. So yeah, Vicky, on adaptability and that issue about messaging.
Yeah, I think I wanted to just add on what you're saying, or to put emphasis. Yeah, it's good to,
Mm,
first of all, um, you you need to be flexible in marketing. That is what we keep saying. Like, you can't just
mm,
stick to what you think works. There is a lot of change that is happening in the online space. There is a lot of change in the technology space. There are social media platforms are evolving. You can't just stick to what you know. You always need to adapt. So that is something that we have been saying and will continue to say. Always be flexible enough. Don't be too rigid. That will help your business to grow. Then I think also emphasis on what you've just mentioned about copying what your competitors are doing. It's good to learn from them, but not to copy. I remember there was an advert on the media that used to say, I think it was usiseme maziwa, sema, I don't want to say the maziwa. Then another one came, usiseme tissue, usiseme tissue.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like there was no creativity in this. Like someone just sat down and decided to copy paste, even if they were
But
using
wasn't it
almost.
because the guy who did the Maziwa campaign also did the tissue campaign?
No, but you see, if you're the one who is employed in this company
Mm,
X, you're supposed to have rejected this this creative when it came, because you'll be
mm.
like, this is what was done the other time. Like,
This
can
is,
you
yeah,
try
it is
to?
similar
Yeah.
to another one. Yeah.
Yes, you as the person who's seated to approve. You cannot just
Mm,
approve because you are still in the marketing department, I believe. So
yeah.
that copying and pasting is doesn't work. It's always good, because even your customers notice. It's always good to learn from what you see and then modify, be creative, try to think out of what you see. Like, it should not be copy and paste. It should be your someone can be able to see similarity, but not like the exact creative being done. And then of course you had also mentioned about having the advert run more than 3 months, 1 year. There are some adverts that have run for long, and they stayed for long before they became before people got tired of them. I remember there's
Well,
an advert that I don't like, that you have been mentioning that you like. Is it PK? It's PK,
yeah,
the one
I
for
think it's
a fat
juicy
man,
fruits.
a juicy fruit. It has stayed for long, especially on YouTube, and people seem to relate with it. I think it's how the creative was done. But
No,
again,
I
even
think in
as
my
you,
view, it's not even about how the creative was done. It is, these companies have this attitude where if we've spent an amount on an ad, we have to max out that amount. So I
yes,
think that company, that agency had the ability to also come up with another creative ad, but the company was like, if it's going to cost us almost the amount we are going to max out this. this ad.
Which is true,
Mm,
but I'm
yeah.
saying, like, there are some that, because of their good creativity, they can stay for longer compared to others. But even
Yes.
us as marketers, or someone who's running an agency and is doing the advert, should be able to realize this advert is fatigue. Can we change?
Mm,
Even when you're running adverts on these social media platforms, when you do them for so long, you'll always get a response, a recommendation or a warning telling you that
mm,
this advert is fatigue. Try to re-edit or change something, to just ensure that when your customers see, they're able to see something new, not the same thing over and over again. So the fatigue aspect is for us to be able to identify. There are some adverts that can run for 1 month, there are some that will run for 3 months, but us, we need to have that third eye to be able to identify, okay, this one we need to change. It has become too much. Most of the audiences have seen it's redundant. So let's try to be creative on the next advert. So that is something that we also need to notice. Yeah, I think maybe you
yeah.
can mention another one, then we continue with
Yeah. I think
ideas.
on the issue of the advert that are staying long, in my view, you see the hard thing is, even the guys who are creating that juicy creative ad, it is very polarizing. There are people like me who like it, but there are people like you who absolutely do not get entertained by it. And that's what I'm saying, that even if you're going to spend serious money on a an advert, then you also have to be appreciative that not everyone will like that advert. And that's why an advert cannot have a long shelf life, because it is also very polarizing. There is somebody who now, every time they see that advert, they now swear that I'm never going to to buy this type of this product, because it's like these guys are not getting my message. So it's also very a polarizing ad can also be good, but also can also lead to negative results, in the sense that now you split your customers or your audience, and instead of
Okay,
getting ambassadors, now you get people who are detractors.
but again, okay, but again, do
Mhm.
you know, uh the point sometimes is also driven home when I get pissed off because the message has been driven home. I get to remember that advert, because sometimes the whole point is for
But
me to
that's the thing.
remember the
Who said that
message.
they wanted you to
And
remember it negatively?
there was a time, I don't know, it was which company, it was a coffee company. I've forgotten the name of this company. It's Starbucks. Was it Starbucks that they would buy? You'll go to buy your coffee, and you see, when you buy your coffee, they put your name. They would
Yeah, it's
misspell
Starbucks.
your
It's
name.
still they still do it.
Yes, but sasa, when you'll get the coffee, you'll think it's a mistake, and then you'll be like, you have misspelled my name. But for them, that was a
Mm,
strategy they were using. So sometimes
mm,
their whole goal is for you to remember their brand. However much you
mm.
want to, whichever way you want to remember it, but you have remembered the brand.
Yeah.
So maybe
But
it
then you
was
see,
also
that one would have been it would have been a different campaign. You are saying now the campaign is on the brand. So
okay.
back to what we were talking about. If your goal is brand, then you can play around with some things. But if your goal is
Okay.
conversion, you also have to be very careful on
Yeah.
the type of ads you do. You can, some provocative ads cannot lead, are good for. In fact, most provocative ads are good for brand awareness and less for for actual conversions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something you talked about earlier that I wanted also to talk more into, even as we come to a close. It's about the audience targeting. When you have a
Yeah.
clear goal, you will also understand who your customer is, and we can't ever overemphasize this enough. Not everyone will be your audience, not everyone will be your customer. Now, why you need to be clear on your audience, or when you need to be clear on your targeting, is because when you understand who your customer is, it will dictate even where you do the ads. If you're doing an out of home advertising, where we call those billboards and any other type of adverts, or digital marketing advertising, where you're now placing on different platforms, depending on your audience, it will highly also affect the placement of your ads, and even the messaging, because maybe the people who are on TikTok respond to a different message than guys who are on LinkedIn. Even the format of your content, it can be video, it can be posts, blog post, it can be creative still image graphics. So when you fully understand your audience, and you're well aware of where you can find them, then it also increases the chances of your marketing campaign being successful. I just wanted to add that, Vicky. Unless you have anything additionally on the on the areas that guys usually get it wrong and where they can improve.
Yeah, I think another strategy mistake is when we don't test our adverts, we
Mm.
don't measure the performance of our adverts, we don't understand the different metrics. That is one of the major mistakes that we also need to put in mind,
Yeah,
because
guys just read
understand
the statistics at the end of the campaign. It's like this is
actually.
something we give the client.
Yes, or they just see I spent this amount and I've gotten one
Yeah.
customer. That is
Mm.
what they read. So you need to understand. First of all, you need to test your the different strategies that you put. If you're doing content, you need to look at the different content, which one is working for you. If you're doing adverts, you need to do different testings, and then of course the performance. Understand the performance, the different metrics. Am I looking at the engagement? How many people engaged with my content? How many people shared my content? How many people viewed my videos or um, uh, my videos or audio anytime I put? Which videos do people relate with more? So you need to understand the different metrics. Even as you look at the end goal, when you understand these different metrics, they help you know what to improve, what to work on, what not to do in order for you to reach now the end goal. Also, always just ensure that you put this into practice. Look at them
Mm.
testings, the performance, the metrics, and also just be patient as you try to improve on what you need to improve to ensure that you get your job get done. Even as you come up with your strategy, always ensure that you put your customer ahead of the picture. Like, don't only consider the strategies that come from the moon, from what you have thought, but also think, do my customers want? What do my customers need? What can I share with them that will convince them to buy my product or service? So putting your customer first will help you be able to get more conversions, and also just ensure that your brand grows. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, that's it from us today. It was a very elaborate and engaging session. We hope that you have learned something. And again, like we always say, please don't shy away from giving us your candid feedback on the comment section on our social media platforms, but also just share with us some of the areas that you would want us to improve on, but also the topics you'd like us to cover, because we're here to in as much as to educate you, but also to help address some of the pain points that you have in your marketing journey and in your brand campaign. But if you want to learn more about what we do, you can go to our website on www.ashagrouplimited.com. As we end, I'd just like to thank you for your time. Urge you to like, share, subscribe, and continue watching this content. From me,
Yeah.
it's bye from me, Steve Atema.
I'm Tema Victoria. Bye.
Bye.